In a village nestled between two lazy rivers and one long dusty road, there lived a young woman named Adama. She wasn't loud. She didn't wear shiny clothes or talk with her hands flying like birds. She didn't walk with her nose in the sky or her chest forward like some other village girls who believed beauty meant war. But there was something about her that made people stop and look twice. Her eyes were like still water, calm, deep, but full of things unsaid. Her smile didn't jump out, but when it came, it was soft and honest, like rain touching dry ground. Adama was raised by a grandmother, Mama Nena, a retired midwife who used to say, "My child, in this world, fire doesn't always come with smoke. Some fires burn quietly but destroy completely." That was Adama. She helped her grandmother on the farm, carried yams on her head without shaking, and sold vegetables in the market with grace. When village boys tried to chase her with sweet words and noisy laughter, she would just smile and keep walking. One day, an old woman in the market asked her, "Adama, are you not ready for marriage?" She answered softly, "Mama, when the man who speaks peace arrives, I listen." The woman blinked. "Peace? What if he comes with riches instead?" Adama smiled. "Peace is richer." Everyone laughed, but they knew this one was different. Then came Obidike. Obidike was not from the village. He came from Umuahia, a big town 2 hills away. He was a tall, polite man who wore glasses and always smelled like aftershave and book pages. He came to the village for a community teaching program. He taught math at the local school, and the children loved him. He never raised his voice, always brought groundnuts in his pocket, and helped fix roofs during break time. That was how he noticed Adama. He saw her one Saturday morning washing clothes at the stream, her wrapper tied firm around her waist, arms strong but movements gentle. He greeted her with a smile. "Good morning, Mississippi." She nodded politely. "Morning, sir." That was it. The next week, he greeted again. And the week after that, he offered to carry her basket back from the stream. She allowed it. That was when he knew this one was wife material. Not the flashy kind. The deep-rooted, quietly strong kind. The love was simple. They didn't shout their love in the streets. No matching clothes. No singing by the window. Just walks after sunset, laughter under mango trees, and quiet promises passed between two hearts that wanted the same thing. Adama said yes when he asked to marry her. The village women said, "Oh, the quiet one has found her man." Some were happy. Some were jealous. But Adama didn't mind. She packed her few wrappers, hugged Mama Nene tightly, and followed her new husband to the city. A new life began. The house in Umuahia. Obidike's house was small but neat. 2 bedrooms, a small kitchen, and a veranda with white plastic chairs. Adama cleaned it till the floor could reflect her face. She cooked hot meals, swept twice a day, and decorated the parlor with plastic flowers and family photos. Neighbors began to whisper, "Obidike is lucky. His wife is humble." He was happy too. At least at first. But then, a phone call changed everything. It came on a Sunday afternoon. The church bells were still ringing in the air when Obidike's phone buzzed. He answered. A female voice said, "My son, I had a dream. A snake was lying beside you in bed." Obidike laughed. "Mama, it was just a dream." The voice continued, "Dreams don't lie. I'm coming to stay with you. Just for a few days. I need to pray and watch this wife of yours closely." Adama was in the kitchen, cutting vegetables. She didn't hear the full conversation. But when Obidike walked in with a heavy sigh and said, "My mother is coming," her heart paused. She smiled anyway. "We will welcome her. Enter Mama Ejiri." 2 days later, Mama Ejiri arrived. She didn't knock. She didn't greet. She walked into the house like it was hers, carrying one box, two bags, and a folded mat. She wore a thick scarf around her head, black sunglasses, and a long flowing gown. Her face was like stone. Her lips were like sealed padlocks. Adama came out with a tray of water and groundnuts. "Good afternoon, Mama." "Welcome." Mama Ejiri didn't touch the tray. She squinted and said, "So this is her. HM. So quiet. That's how snakes behave too." Adama blinked. "Sorry, Mama." She waved her off. "Nothing. Where's the guest room?" From that day, the air in the house changed. The beginning of the war. Mama Ejiri didn't like Adama. From the start, she said she was too quiet, too slow, too suspicious. "She doesn't kneel well when greeting," she complained. "She wakes up too late," she lied, though Adama rose with the sun. "She's using charm to hold my son," she whispered to the neighbors. Every morning, she would open her Bible and pray loud prayers like thunder. "Any woman sent to destroy my son, fall and die." Adama would kneel beside her, say amen quietly, and continue with her chores. Obidike tried to calm the storm. "Mama, please. Adama is a good woman." Mama Ejiri would slap her chest. "You're blind. She has covered your eyes with soup and sweet words." When Adama cooked, Mama would taste the food and say, "Too much salt. Are you trying to raise my blood pressure?" When Adama cleaned, Mama would check again and say, "This house smells of laziness." At night, she would enter their bedroom without knocking and say, "My son, sleep facing up so you can hear from God. Don't let her sleep on your chest." Adama's fire begins to wake. At first, Adama swallowed it all. She told herself, "It's just for a while. She will leave." But days became weeks. Weeks became 2 months. And every day, Mama Ejiri's words were like stones falling on her back. One evening, as she was washing plates, a single tear dropped from her eye into the soapy water. She wiped it quickly before anyone could see. But something inside her shifted. The fire Mama Nena used to talk about, it was waking. A quiet fire. One that didn't shout. But one that would not allow peace to be murdered every morning. The 3rd month of Mama Ejiri's stay came with heavy rains. The skies poured like a broken drum, and thunder clapped without apology. Inside the house, it was no different. The once peaceful home had become a war zone. But not the kind with flying fists or shouting voices, no. This war was quiet, sharp, and slow, like a needle through skin. It came in the form of stinging words, rolled eyes, and footsteps that dragged like chains across the floor. Adama's smile was fading. Adama woke up earlier than the cocks crow. She swept the compound before the sun opened its eyes. She boiled water, cooked breakfast, and laid out Mama Ejiri's wrapper on the balcony rail to catch the morning breeze. Still, Mama Ejiri complained. "You put too much pepper in the stew again," she said one morning, after one spoon. Adama bowed slightly. "Sorry, Mama. I'll do better." Later, when Obidike returned from work, Mama Ejiri said, "Your wife is lazy. I nearly fainted today, and she didn't even run to help me." Adama stood there, confused. "But Mama, you said." Mama cut her off. "So now you call me a liar." Obidike rubbed his head. "Adama, please. Just try to manage. She's old." Adama wanted to ask, "And what am I? A sponge?" But she said nothing. Instead, she went into the room, shut the door, and prayed to God with a voice that shook with pain, "Please, don't let me hate her." The neighbors were watching. The compound was full of listening ears. One woman next door, Auntie Rose, told her husband, "That poor girl is trying. But that old woman is bitter like burnt okra." Children in the street whispered, "Obidike's mother is always shouting." Even the gatekeeper, Paul Musa, once said, "Madam Adama, if water no boil under fire, not because the pot no talk. But Mama Ejiri didn't care. She walked around like Queen of Thorns. Bible in one hand, gossip in the other. One afternoon, she sat with visitors and said loudly, Adama came from a broken home. You can't expect much from such people. Adama froze. Her heart dropped like a stone. That was a lie. Her parents died in an accident when she was 9. Mama Nena raised her with love and wisdom. But Adama swallowed the hurt and kept serving tea. That night, she cried quietly, biting her wrapper so the sound wouldn't escape. Poison in the mind. Slowly, Mama Ejiri began to poison Obidike's mind. She doesn't respect me. She watches me like I'm a thief. She sleeps too much. She may be barren. Obidike didn't want to believe it. But small by small, he changed. He no longer greeted Adama with hugs. He no longer asked how her day went. One evening, he came home with a frown and said, Mama said you insulted her in front of the driver. Why would you do that? Adama's mouth dropped. Me? I didn't say. She has no reason to lie, he snapped. Adama stood there, heart cracking. So now, you believe her over me? He didn't answer. That night, he ate in silence and turned his back to her in bed. Adama watched the ceiling and whispered to herself, is this the peace I prayed for? The breaking point. One Sunday morning, after service, Obidike's uncle came visiting. He was an elder in the family, a respected man called Pochima. He sat down, removed his cap, and said, we must talk. Adama served him malt and peanuts. Then she sat. Mama Ejiri cleared her throat loudly. Uncle Chima, I've tried. This girl is not fit for my son. She's too cold, too secretive. I had a dream last week. She was tying black cloth under the moonlight. Uncle Chima frowned. Dream again? Yes. And my right hand has been itching. Bad sign. Adama lowered her eyes. Have I done anything, Mama? She asked. Mama Ejiri hissed. That question is your insult. You want to make me look like I'm mad, ABI. Uncle Chima sighed. Mama Ejiri, this is not how we settle issues. But Mama kept talking. She wants to trap my son. That's why she hasn't given us a child. Who knows what shrine she came from? That was it. Adama stood up slowly. Her hands were shaking. Her lips were dry. I will not sit here and watch you destroy my name. Mean. Mama screamed, jumping up. You see it now. Disrespect. Thunder will fire this. Enough. Adama shouted, her voice breaking through the walls like lightning. Everyone froze. Even Obidike stood from his seat. Adama's eyes burned. I've cooked. I've cleaned. I've served and swallowed insult every day. But not today. Not in front of God and man. She turned to Obidike. Tell me now. Am I your wife or your servant? Obidike's mouth opened. But no words came out. Tears spilled from Adama's eyes. If you want peace, fight for it. Because I can't fight alone anymore. And with that, she walked into their bedroom and locked the door. A dangerous suggestion. That night, Obidike sat outside with his uncle, quiet and confused. Uncle Chima said gently, you're a man. But you're standing in the middle of fire and asking why your house is burning. Obidike looked up. So what should I do? The old man said, go to the village. Take both women. Let the elders talk. If peace doesn't come there, then maybe, it's not meant to be. Obidike nodded. Later, he told Adama. Let's travel to the village. Maybe we can fix this. Adama hesitated. Then she whispered, only if your mother doesn't lead the conversation. he promised. They packed bags. Mama Ejiri, of course, insisted on following. She said, "Let me see the land where they trained this woman. I want to know the source of her witchcraft." And just like that, a quiet fire, a loud storm, and a confused man all boarded the same train, headed straight toward destiny. The sky was still yawning open when Adama stepped out of the house, a small travel bag in one hand, her wrapper tied firm around her waist. Her face was calm, but her eyes were distant, like someone already tired of a journey that hadn't even started. Behind her came Mama Ejiri, dragging 2 large bags, a cooler, a plastic fan, and a Bible she gripped like a weapon. Obidike followed last, shoulders slouched, a man trying to balance fire and flood with one pair of hands. They reached the train station in silence. The cabin of unspoken things. The train was old but steady. Metal clanged as it rode to a stop. The conductor shouted destinations through his megaphone. Passengers climbed in with bags, babies, food flasks, and frustration. Obidike had booked a small private cabin for the 3 of them. As they stepped in, Mama Ejiri rushed first and planted herself next to Obidike, her handbag slapping the seat like a warning drum. She smiled sweetly and said, "Let me sit by my son. My bones ache when I sit alone." Adama sat across from them. Not a word passed between the women. Obidike tried to start a conversation. "The clouds are gathering. Looks like rain will fall on the way." Mama Ejiri clutched her chest. "May it not fall on our heads. With this kind of woman here, anything can happen." Adama closed her eyes briefly and whispered to herself, "Lord, hold me." Mouth like blade. As the train began to move, so did Mama Ejiri's mouth. Trains in those days were stronger, she started. Adama remained silent. This new generation, everything is weak. Even their wives, weak in cooking, weak in respect, weak in everything. Obidike shifted in his seat. "Mama, please." Mama Ejiri ignored him. "You can tell a good wife by how she kneels when serving her husband food. These modern girls, they kneel like frogs with injury." Adama's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. Passengers in the next cabin could hear bits of the conversation. A young girl peeped through the sliding door and quickly closed it, whispering to her friend, "Drama is loading. A bag of trouble." Mama Ejiri opened her cooler and brought out fried plantain and boiled eggs. "My son, eat. Don't collect anything from her. You don't know what she puts inside her food." Adama's mouth fell open in shock. "Mama." "What?" Mama Ejiri snapped. "You think I'm afraid of you? God is watching you." Obidike sighed. "Mama, enough." She looked at him with wounded eyes. "So now I'm the problem. I carried you in my womb, and now you defend a stranger." Adama's hands clenched in her lap. She stared out of the window. The sky was now fully gray. Rain tapped softly on the glass. Rising storm. The silence in the cabin was thick like ogbono soup. Every minute, tension grew fatter. Mama Ejiri leaned back and muttered, "They said women from her village know how to make a man forget his mother." Adama turned her head slowly, her voice low but clear. "What did you just say?" Mama Ejiri laughed. "Oh. So now you want to speak? Your charm is wearing off." Obidike stood up. "That's enough, Mama. If we don't stop now, I will get off this train and walk to the village alone." Mama Ejiri folded her arms, lips tight. Adama rose, walked to the door of the cabin, and opened it slightly to let in fresh air. The cool breeze hit her face like balm. She stood there for a long time, her eyes on the trees flying past, her heart thumping like a festival drum. The passengers were watching. Back inside, whispers were flying. One old man said, "That woman must be her mother-in-law. Only mothers-in-law speak like that." A woman beside him shook her head. "Even then, it's too much." She wants to kill the girl with words. Someone closer to the cabin said, I pity the husband. 2 fires in one house. The train continued racing toward the village. Inside the cabin, Mama Edgy leaned close to Obidike and said, if you don't send her away, she will bury your destiny. Mark my words. Adama, still by the door, heard everything. Her breath caught. She turned around, walked back inside, and sat. She looked at Obidike. Is this your silence or your agreement? Obidike said nothing. That silence was louder than thunder. The boiling point. Night fell. The lights inside the cabin were dim. The hum of the train filled the air like soft drums. Then it happened. Mama Ejiri stood, wrapper tight, eyes burning. She pointed a shaky finger at Adama. You will not destroy my son's life. You witch. Obidike jumped. Mama, stop. Adama rose. Her voice was steady. One more word from you, Mama, and I will forget my home training. Mama Ejiri raised her hand. You want to fight me? Let me show you today. She stepped forward, fast, angry, trembling. But the train jerked suddenly. She stumbled. Her slipper bent. She tried to grab the metal rail beside the cabin door, but missed. Her back leaned. Her balance shifted. And before anyone could move, whoosh! The open door behind her became her escape. Or her doom. Mama Ejiri slipped. And flew out of the moving train. The cabin froze. Silence dropped like thunder. Obidike screamed, Mama. Passengers ran to the window. One shouted, she fell. She fell. Adama stood there, her eyes wide, her chest rising and falling like waves hitting rock. I didn't touch her, she whispered. I didn't touch her. Obidike turned to her, eyes wild with fear. What did you do? I didn't touch her, she repeated louder. I swear, I didn't. The train didn't stop. It kept moving, metal screaming against metal, as if it too was trying to run from what had just happened. The train didn't stop. It couldn't. Old Nigerian trains don't have emergency brakes for sudden falls, just whistles and wishes. And so, the engine groaned forward, dragging along with it the weight of a mother's scream, a son's horror, and a daughter-in-law's silence. In cabin 17, time stood still. Passengers were whispering now, some in shock, others already assigning blame. Did you see how she flew out? She was shouting before it happened. That girl stood so still, like she'd done something and was waiting. Obidike sat frozen, face buried in his hands. Mama. Mama, oh God. Adama hadn't moved. Her hands were clenched, her lips trembled, but her eyes stared at the empty doorway like it could rewind time if she just looked hard enough. She whispered again, I didn't touch her. The arrival at the village station. By the time the train rolled into Mano Junction, the night had thinned out, and the air smelled like dawn and dust. But the station was not quiet. Word had flown ahead, faster than any train. Villagers gathered with lanterns, wrappers tied tight, and mouths ready to talk. Somehow, everyone already knew. Obidike stepped off first. His eyes were red. His shirt was wet with sweat. Adama followed slowly, escorted by 2 railway staff who had called the police at the last stop. Whispers followed her like shadows. That's her. The wife who threw her mother-in-law out of a moving train. She doesn't even look sorry. An old woman pulled her wrapper close. In our days, this would never happen. A wife kills her husband's mother. Tufioko. The police came. A blue pickup van rolled into the dusty parking lot, sirens off but presence loud. 2 police officers jumped down, boots kicking up sand. One held a notepad. The other, handcuffs. Are you the woman they're talking about? He asked Adama, not even greeting first. She looked him in the eye and said, I didn't touch her. She fell. That's not what we heard. He clicked the cuffs around her wrist. You are under arrest for attempted murder. The crowd gasped. Someone shouted, she's innocent. Another replied, innocent women don't push their mothers-in-law from trains. Obidike didn't say a word. He stood beside the train, looking broken, mouth half open, like a man whose world had crumbled before he could build it. Adama behind bars. They took her to a small police station 2 towns away. The cell was cold, damp, and smelled like regret. Adama sat on the floor, back against the wall, arms wrapped around her knees. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just breathed. Slow, deep breaths. Like someone trying not to drown. One female officer brought her water. Sister, are you truly guilty? Adama shook her head. I tried. I really tried. But she hated me from the first day. The officer sighed. This world is wicked to women. But truth walks slowly, yet it always arrives. Meanwhile in the bush. About 1 kilometer away from where the train passed, a farmer named Papa Ilo was walking to check his goat traps when he heard it. A faint cry. Help, water, somebody. He paused. The cry came again, barely a whisper. He moved closer. There, tangled in dry grass and thorns, lay a woman with a torn wrapper, bleeding head, and one leg bent the wrong way. Mama Ejiri. He shouted. She blinked slowly. Water, please. He dropped his cutlass, ran to the stream, soaked his cloth in water, and returned. Stay with me, Mama. You'll be fine, he said. But Mama Ejiri wasn't listening. She was muttering nonsense. They want to take my son. Jezebel, charm. He ran to get help. At the hospital. 3 hours later, Mama Ejiri was wheeled into St. Ada Hospital, groaning and weak. She had a broken leg, deep cuts on her arms, and a bruised back. But her mouth still worked. She pushed me, she whispered to the nurse. My son's wife, she pushed me. The nurse shook her head. Let the doctor see you first. We'll hear the full story later. The village rose. Back in the village, the gossip pot was boiling. Uncles and aunties were calling emergency meetings. Chiefs were getting involved. One of Obidike's cousins even said, let's take her straight to the shrine. Let the gods decide. But Uncle Efoni, the oldest man in the family, said, no. We'll wait. Let the truth come out. This girl was quiet. Too quiet to be violent. Obidike, meanwhile, sat under the mango tree beside his father's grave. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He whispered, I brought her here to make peace. But I've only brought war. A small boy ran up to him, panting. Uncle, they say your mother is alive. Obidike jumped up. What? She's in St. Ada Hospital. A farmer found her. Obidike ran. The confession. At the hospital, Mama Ejiri opened her eyes and saw her son. My son, oh my son. Obidike held her hand. Mama, what happened? She blinked. Swallowed. Then she said, she pushed me, she wanted to kill me. Obidike's chest tightened. But something in his heart didn't sit right. He remembered the train. He remembered her rage. He remembered Adama's face, the shock, the tears, the silence. His mind raced. Then he remembered something else, the small button camera he had hidden in his cabin bag after buying it for work training videos. He'd left it on. It might have recorded everything. He rushed back to the station. Truth has feet. 2 days later, with the video now in police hands, the truth came walking through the front door like a slow king with dusty sandals. The footage was clear. It showed Mama Ejiri shouting. It showed her standing. It showed her raising her hand. And it showed her sleeping all by herself. Adama had not touched her. Not even once. The case was dropped. The cell door opened. The officer said, "You're free." Adama walked out, her back straight, her face calm. But her heart had changed. The sky over Mano village was heavy with clouds again. The kind that didn't just promise rain, they promised a storm. But inside Adama, the storm had already passed. What remained now was not fire or thunder. It was silence. Not the scared kind. Not the defeated kind. But the powerful kind, the kind that comes when you've survived something meant to destroy you. Adama walked out, but not the same. When Adama stepped out of that police station, her wrapper was loose, her eyes were dry, and her heart was tired. The officers avoided her eyes. Even the ones who arrested her didn't say sorry. But she didn't need their words. Truth had spoken. That was enough. Waiting outside the station was Obidike. His shirt was untucked. His hands were in his pockets. His face was full of shame. When he saw her, he stepped forward. "Adama." She stopped. He swallowed hard. "You must hate me." She didn't answer. He tried again. "I saw the video. I know the truth now. I'm so." Adama raised her hand gently. "Not here," she said. Her voice was soft, but it carried the weight of many storms. "We will talk. But not in front of the same people who watch me walk in with cuffs." Obidike nodded, his throat tight with regret. Meanwhile, at St. Ada Hospital, Mama Ejiri lay on the hospital bed, her leg in a cast, her face pale, her mouth unusually quiet. She hadn't spoken since they showed her the video. She watched herself on the screen, her own voice shouting, her hands flying, her feet slipping. No push. No struggle. Just pride, loudness, and karma. The nurse came in and asked, "Do you need anything?" Mama Ejiri whispered, "Yes." "Peace." The nurse smiled sadly. "That one, you'll have to find yourself." The family meeting. 2 days later, under the big Udola tree near the chief's compound, the elders gathered. Chairs were arranged in a circle. Flies buzzed. Palms fanned. Uncle Ifoni stood in the middle. "We are here because of what happened on that train. Because of the lies, the fall, and the shame that has touched all our names." He pointed to Adama, seated quietly in a green wrapper. "This woman is our daughter now. She has carried our son's name, and she has carried it well, even under fire." Murmurs of agreement followed. Then he turned to Obidike. "And you, when your wife needed your voice, you gave her your silence." Obidike lowered his head. Uncle Ifoni sighed. "But we are not here to blame. We are here to ask, what do you both want now?" The air held its breath. Adama stood. She looked at everyone. Her voice didn't shake. "I came into this family with love. I came with hope and a heart that only wanted peace. But peace was not given to me." She turned to Obidike. "I did not marry a boy. I married a man. But when trouble came, the man I married turned into a shadow." Obidike blinked, his eyes wet. "I forgive you," she said. "But I don't trust you." Gasps filled the air. Then she turned to the elders. "I want to go back to my grandmother. I need time. I need space. And I need silence. Because that's the only thing that has ever protected me." She sat down. Not in shame, but in strength. Obidike's decision. Later that evening, Obidike went to the hospital. Mama Ejiri sat up when he entered, guilt painted across her face like ashes. "My son." He stood at the foot of the bed. Mama, he said quietly, why did you hate her so much? She looked down. Her voice came like a crack in old wood. Because she reminded me of my husband's mistress. The one who nearly ruined our home. The one who laughed at me when I was barren for years. Obadiah's eyes widened. But Adama is not her. I know, Mama whispered. But bitterness doesn't need reason. It just needs somewhere to sit. Tears ran down her cheeks. I didn't push her, but I pushed her spirit. Every single day. Obadiah was quiet. Then he said, Mama, I love you. But I also love peace. And I've come to see that you and peace cannot live in the same house. She looked up, shocked. What do you mean? I mean, you're going back to the village. When they discharge you, you'll stay with Uncle Ifani. You'll not live with me again. MBA knew. I am your mother. I know. But that title should come with blessing, not curse. He turned to leave. Mama, he said, you broke her spirit. Now I must repair it. If she'll let me. And he walked away. Back in the village. Adama returned to her grandmother's house. Mama Nena hugged her tight. My child. You've walked through fire and came out with your name still clean. That is not survival. That is power. Adama cooked again. She swept again. But she also sat under the tree more often now, alone, watching birds fly and thinking about freedom. 3 moons passed. Obadiah visited once. He didn't beg. He didn't kneel. He just sat beside her and said, I'm trying to become the man you thought I was. Adama smiled, just a little. I'll believe it, she said, when I see it. 3 moons had passed since Adama returned to her grandmother's house. The dry season had arrived. Leaves were falling like quiet apologies, and the harmattan breeze came every morning to sweep the land with dust and stillness. In that time, Adama healed. Not all at once. Not loudly. But like a river slowly finding its path again after being blocked by stones. The village had changed too. People in the village now greeted her with respect. Women who once whispered, she's too quiet to be a good wife, now said, that girl has the strength of 10 queens. Even the market women looked at her differently. Adama, teach our daughters how to hold their peace without losing themselves. Adama would just smile. A small, knowing smile. One that didn't need to prove anything. Back in the city, a man awakens. Far away in the city, Obadiah was no longer the man who came home to watch his mother insult his wife. He had changed. Slowly, quietly, deeply. He no longer rushed to work just to escape home. He no longer ignored signs just to keep peace with the wrong person. He moved Mama Ejiri's things into storage. He donated half of his wardrobe. He turned the second bedroom into a reading room, and every night, he read books on relationships, forgiveness, and emotional maturity. He even joined a local group for men learning how to lead their homes with love, not control. And most of all, he stopped calling Adama. For now. The letter. One morning, Mama Nena handed Adama a small white envelope. No name outside, she said. But I knew who it's from. Adama opened it slowly. Inside, the letter read. My queen of quiet fire. I once thought love meant always being right. But now I know it means always choosing peace. You chose peace from day one. I chose comfort. And because of that, I nearly lost everything. I won't ask you to come back. I won't demand forgiveness. But I will do the work until the man you see next is the man you deserve. Not perfect. But ready. Still yours, if you will have me. Obadiah. Adama held the letter to her chest. Her heart beat slow and steady. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. But something in her softened. A new kind of visit. The next week, Obidike visited. He didn't wear a fine shirt. Just a clean wrapper and leather sandals. He came with a small cooler of food he had cooked himself. He knocked once and waited. Adama opened the door. Their eyes met. This time, no storm behind them. Just wind. Adama stepped aside. "You've lost weight," she said. "I've lost pride," he replied. She sat. He placed the cooler down. "Jollof rice. I followed your old recipe." She opened it. Smelled it. Tasted one spoon. It wasn't perfect, but it was full of effort. Rebuilding walls, brick by brick. That day, they didn't talk about Mama Ejiri. They didn't talk about the train. Or the village meeting. Or even the police cell. They just talked about small things. Plants. The weather. Her grandmother snoring. And when it was time for him to go, she said, "You can come again next week." Mama Ejiri's reflection. Back in the village, Mama Ejiri now lived in Uncle Ifoni's backroom. She walked with a cane. Her voice was softer. Not because she was weak, but because life had shown her that noise doesn't equal strength. One Sunday afternoon, she sat in the church's last pew. The pastor was preaching about bitterness. Bitterness is like planting poison in your own garden, then blaming the rain when nothing grows. She lowered her head. A tear dropped onto her wrapper. She whispered, "God, I was wrong." An unexpected visit. Weeks later, she sent word to Adama. She wanted to see her. Mama Nena wasn't sure. "That woman caused you too much pain." Adama nodded. "Yes. But forgiveness is not for her. It's for me." So she went. Face to face. When Adama entered the small compound, Mama Ejiri was sitting on a wooden chair, both hands wrapped around her cane. She stood slowly. "I'm not strong enough to kneel. But I'm sorry enough to mean it." Adama said nothing. Mama Ejiri's eyes filled. "I ruined something beautiful with fear. I confused control with protection. And I punished you for a fight that wasn't yours." Adama still said nothing. Then she asked, "Why me?" Mama Ejiri sighed. "Because you didn't kneel. And because deep down, I knew you didn't need to. You already had what I lost, dignity." Adama's eyes softened. She said quietly, "I forgive you." Then she turned to leave. Mama Ejiri held her cane tightly. "Thank you." A wedding, but not the usual kind. 3 months later, Adama and Obidike stood under a mango tree. No big crowd. No dancing masquerades. Just a pastor, a few close friends, Mama Nena, and silence. Not awkward silence. Sacred silence. The kind that says, "We've been through the fire and still chose each other." When the pastor said, "You may now kiss your bride," Obidike smiled and whispered, "Only if the queen allows." Adama laughed quietly. "She does." The sun rose gently over the hills of Mano village. It was one of those mornings that felt like a soft blessing. Birds chirped like they had somewhere joyful to be, the breeze danced through banana leaves, and the earth itself seemed to smile. In the small compound behind Mama Nena's house, Adama was humming quietly as she watered the yam leaves. Her wrapper was tied neatly, her bare feet pressed into the cool soil. This was not the same woman who once left the city with cuffed wrists and a heavy heart. No. This was a woman who had walked through fire and come out whole. A new home, a new beginning. Obidike had rented a small house on the edge of the village. Not too far from Mama Nena. Not too close to gossiping mouths. Just right. He called it the house that peace built. It had no gate. No large compound. But it had windows that welcomed light, walls that echoed laughter, and a kitchen where both of them cooked together. In that house, there were 3 simple rules. No shouting. No silence that punishes. No visitors who carry thunder in their mouths. Adama agreed. And so did Obidike. Mama Ejiri stayed away. She heard about the small wedding. She heard about the house. She even heard about the new small pottery Adama had started behind the kitchen. But she didn't visit. Not because she wasn't invited, but because she now understood something she hadn't before. Not every door is meant to be opened twice. She stayed with Uncle Ifani, going to church every Sunday, learning to listen more than she spoke. Some days, she sat under the orange tree in his backyard, holding her cane, watching ants move in straight lines. That's how her heart was now, slower, quieter, more thoughtful. One morning, she asked the house girl to bring her pen and paper. She wrote a short letter. To Adama. I do not deserve your kindness, but I will never stop praying for your joy. You didn't win against me. You rose above me. That's not weakness, it's strength. Thank you for not pushing me when you could have. The train didn't take my life, but your silence saved it. If God blesses your womb, I hope you tell your child that you once forgave a woman who didn't deserve it. That kind of story plants peace in generations. Mama Ejiri. She folded the paper, handed it to a young boy in the village, and said, "Don't wait for reply. Just say I said thank you." Peace in small things. In the months that followed, Adama and Obidike built their life slowly. Not like people racing to prove something, but like farmers planting what they wanted to eat. They planted trust. They watered respect. They harvested joy. Some evenings, they sat on their veranda, watching chickens peck at the dust, sharing boiled groundnuts and soft stories. Other times, they laughed about the first meal Obidike ever cooked. Too much curry, not enough sense, Adama used to joke. One night, as the moon rose over the hills, Obidike held her hand and said, "Thank you for choosing peace, even when you had every right to choose war." Adama smiled. Peace doesn't shout. But it wins every time. Mama Nena's blessing. One quiet morning, Mama Nene gathered them both under the mango tree. She placed one hand on Adama's shoulder, the other on Obidike's. "My children," she said, "marriage is not meat and pepper soup. It's firewood and patience. Sometimes the fire will go low. Sometimes the pot will burn. But if both of you keep adding water, the soup will not spoil." They nodded. "Now go," she said, smiling. "Make me proud. And maybe, give me one small grandchild." Adama blushed. Obidike laughed. "We're trying," he said. The final word. In Mbano, people now speak about Adama with soft voices and slow nods. They say, "She didn't fight her way out. She walked her way up. She showed that a woman can be strong without being loud. She taught even fire how to be quiet." And in Mama Ejiri's own mouth, a new proverb was born. "The woman I tried to break is the one who built my son into a real man." Moral of the story. Not every fire is meant to be fought with fire. Not every insult must be answered with words. And sometimes, the strongest person in the room is the one who walks away with their peace, their dignity, and their name still clean. Bitterness builds noise. But peace builds homes.